Brazil has some of the strongest anti-racism laws on earth. I'm talking racism written into the Constitution as a crime with no statute of limitations and no possibility of bail. Lock him up. You can go to prison for it. You can't pay your way out of it. You can't just wait a few years and hope the case disappears. Brazil put racism in the same legal category as terrorism and torture. But here's the part that should make you stop. Brazil also has some of the worst anti-Black violence in the Western Hemisphere. Both of these things are true at the same time. And the space between those two facts? Yeah, that's the whole story. Brazil was the largest slaveholding society in the Western Hemisphere. Somewhere between 4 and 5 million Africans were trafficked there. That's about 10 times the number brought to the US. And Brazil was the last country in the hemisphere to abolish slavery, more than 20 years after the United States. Then the abolition happened, and the government basically abandoned the people it had just freed. That sounds familiar. No reparations, no land redistribution, no real protections. For decades, racism was treated like a personal issue instead of a structural one. Then in 1950, a Black American dancer named Katherine Dunham was denied a hotel room at São Paulo because she was Black. The story exploded internationally, and a Brazilian politician named Afonso Arinos pushed through the country's first anti-discrimination law the following year in response. It was weak, yeah. Racism was treated more like a minor offense than a serious crime. But it cracked the door open. Then came 1988. Brazil was rewriting its constitution after the military dictatorship ended. And a Black lawyer and federal deputy named Carlos Alberto Cao, he fought to get one specific line added to it, that racism would be a non-bailable crime with no statute of limitations. The next year, he helped pass the Cao Law, which actually gave that constitutional language teeth. And in 2023, Brazil expanded the law again, so racial slurs were treated at the same level as racism itself. On paper, Brazil now has one of the strongest anti-racism legal frameworks in the world. On paper. Because Brazil itself also tells a story. The story that sounds nice until you realize what it actually does. The story is called racial democracy. And the idea is basically this. Brazil mixed so much racially over hundreds of years that the country somehow moved beyond racism. That because Black, Indigenous, and European ancestry are all so intertwined there that racism isn't structurally a problem. A Brazilian sociologist named Gilberto Freire helped popularize this idea in the 1930s. And for decades, the country leaned into that. Hard. School children were taught that Brazil didn't have the kind of racism that the United States did. That racism there was isolated, it was rare, not systemic at all. And Black